Everybody, today's topic, of course, is Wayfinder yet again. I decided to hop back into Wayfinder the other day for a handful of hours to finish off a bit more of my main story progress and see how the game is going. Now, the game's gotten some good updates, but the game is also not incredibly updated, and it's still missing a bunch of quality of life, UI improvements, menu improvements, and just general life expectancy improvements. They increased EXP rates for hunts and bosses, so now it's slightly less painful to level, but now the inventory limit for accessories and echoes has been made 600 for echoes and 100 for accessories, meaning you truly can't stack a ton of different accessories and echoes for a ton of different wayfinders because you might run out of space, but it'll get too cluttered before that happens anyway, so I don't know. So jumping back into Wayfinder, I was still playing, I have a pretty good computer, a 3080 i9 12900K maybe, something like that. Right? Pretty decent, 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM, it's on an SSD, all my games at least, so I like to think that my computer, all things considered, is pretty good. The issue with Wayfinder is it doesn't handle games all that well on any computer or most systems, so the game constantly has hitches and lags, whether that be server lag, host lag, or just straight up in-game performance lag. The game still constantly hitches up and has frame drops and teleporting around and just general server drops. So right now, a big Wayfinder issue is just the performance is not there. The game does not look good enough for how bad the performance is, sadly, when it's more of like a cartoony graphic style Genshin Impact styled game. It's not Warframe, it's not like high value looking particles, physics, and I guess just general areas. So that's not great. I have a good computer, I shouldn't be like jumping frames, lagging constantly, and people shouldn't be disconnecting constantly. It is important to remind everyone this is like a very early access for a free-to-play game, but these are the issues that kind of make or break a lot of games. If the game isn't fun or playable, it's an issue. When you're doing combat in a group and you're fighting bosses and enemies and you're constantly lagging and hitching up because things are loading or the game can't handle anything going on, that's not a fun experience. And if we take a look right now on Steam charts, I think Wayfinder is at like 1,000 or 2,000 people from its peak of 20 something thousand and then tens of thousands people, 10,000, sorry. So the game has definitely lost its popularity. People stopped playing it, and we are probably going to have to wait for the full free-to-play release of the game for anything to change. But I don't know if they can do it in another 4 or 5 months because of how bad the issues are, right? They're baked in type issues, the servers feel rough, or at least the performance feels rough, lags out some of my other stuff. Yeah, it's very annoying. It's early on, but dang, I hope they can fix that performance. They're getting XP rates better, making it so that hunts are better and that bosses maybe aren't the meta farm, but they still definitely are the meta farm. And there will be a ton of stuff in the future, so at least Wayfinder has that going for them. There's still a ton of different Wayfinders and weapons, but the game does have the issue where XP rates are so slow, still for the battle pass and for weapons and Wayfinders, that I just don't think it's worth farming the game. Like, you'll have to play so many tens of hours to max out that Wayfinder battle pass, compared to like 10 to 20 hours max with most good battle passes, maybe 30 hours max, 40 hours max, I don't know. But this one, it seems so aggressively worse. You can't get early levels fast, you can't get mid levels fast, you just slowly kind of trudge through the battle pass and accept your life in that regard. So they do have to fix that. Menus though, when you're selling, buying things, all the time you get kicked back up to the very top of the menu, making it so that depending on how you sort, you almost keep selling your, let's say, main item, weapon, accessory, echo. So the menus are bugged out. You can't go to a proper Echoes menu without having to equip an Echo, meaning you can't properly manage your Echoes in a good menu. You can't bulk buy, sell a certain type of items and input numbers to buy items. So yeah, right now what I'm trying to say is Wayfinder is probably not worth purchasing for a lot of people, and it definitely still needs a lot of time in the oven. It's like a solid 5 out of 10. It's a decent, cute little game, but this game reminds me of like playing a game such as like Adventure Quest Worlds, or let's say what's a old game? Oh yeah, Wizards 101. Feels like we're playing some Roblox level gameplay. Maybe this is like a Fortnite creative map type of game. So it definitely has to prove that it's worth playing when it goes free to play for a lot of people. They have so many different items listed down for their roadmap and for what they want before the free to play launch. And so far, content wise, we haven't really gotten a ton of it. I know they plan to have the big updates every season, so like every 3 months and every new battle pass. But the speed at which a lot of these really rough quality of life updates are coming out and XP increases are coming out are not that fast, and it's really not enticing that many people to join. Like, people join up when there's a big XP or like big update, and then the game drops back down the next day. Like, it doesn't have staying power yet, so the game really has to figure out its identity in that regard. Fix up a lot of the bugs, a lot of the performance issues, and a lot of things like that. There are some things they have fixed, like I can finally tab out, right, and listen to in-game sound because it doesn't mute on tab out now. So yeah, the game's still fun and I'm still able to essentially play no problem. It's just, it has a lot of small annoying UI issues, quality of life issues, lag and hiccups where you start remembering like, okay, yeah, this is still an early access game. Maybe it's not going to be stable, and maybe it's not worth putting a ton of time into right now. The queues in game aren't the slowest, and you can usually get with like 1 or 2 people to have a full group and everything. So honestly, even with a low amount of players, it's not that bad. But with so many different maps, sphere levels, etc., depending on where you are in the game, you might just never queue into someone, right? It's quite possible you will get stuck in a forever queue with maybe one other person, or just not end up queuing into anyone, and that kind of sucks. Farming in the game and finding out where everything can easily be farmed can still be a pain in the butt and a little annoying, but it's not anywhere as bad as something like Warframe. So, I mean, not bad. It's not that bad. But, oh man, I'm having issues right now with the game because I have the problem where I want to progress, but I want to use different wayfinders and I want to use different weapons. But you can't progress if you're trying to use different wayfinders and weapons, even if you have god tier echoes, because unlike unlike a game like Warframe, you just can't get that power level number up, and you just won't be able to do enough damage, so you'll get clapped. So then if you want to level up fast too, it helps if you get carried by high level people, and the game somewhat incentivizes people running lower level wayfinders and weapons in groups and then get carried here and there by other people. So the game has a lot of tiny little annoying issues like that. I've ran into a handful of people that were like AFK or straight up bots because like they were just running into a wall the entire time, then they die and then they just stay in game. So it's like, okay, people are AFK bot farming or something like that for experience, hoping that you kill some of the enemies, and then by the time you leave or complete the match, they leech off all that XP. So the game has problems in that regard with people just straight up trying to take advantage of the game. But it's a decent, cute little game. Overall, it just has so many glaring issues that it needs to fix that, like, I'd say the game's a solid okay. It's at least only $20 if you want to buy the early access, but I would wait and say most people should wait for the free-to-play version to come out because it's not at a state where it can handle people, and it's not at a state where it's a great indie game or a great AAA, right? It's not a great game yet. It's just a pretty decent, cute little game, and it's not worth a ton of most people's time right now. So that's what they need to do. They have to fix a bunch of the issues, right? And then hey, we'll talk, we'll see. The animations in the game, the cutscenes in the game, and like the visuals when you're talking to people for all of the cutscenes, 90% of the time, are kind of like not great either. I know a lot of people are complaining about that here and there. They're like, oh, so when you're just statically talking to them, they're just kind of like a moving PNG character, cool. And then the cutscenes are just like small amount of movement type JPEG pictures, right? It looks like a JPEG GIF that's kind of like AI-ified. It's not AI-ified, but it's like a GIF of where they make the JPEG and then they do whatever techniques to slightly move around effects on the JPEG. I don't know what to call it because I'm not in that field, but yeah, the animations are rough for what it could be and everything. It's not like they have sweet Warframe animations, 3D renders and things like that. No. It's not going to be that big of a game. So that is like a hiccup on a lot of people. While I think it's artsy, it looks good and it's cute, it's like, yeah, people want more. Like they'd love the cutscenes for more in-game, I guess, story. And you just don't get that in this game. So it has a lot of glaring issues for a lot of people. I don't know how it's going to go. I think it'll take at least another 2 years for the game to build out and update enough for the free-to-play and average experience to be decent, but maybe they can pull it together within half a year. That would be sweet. We still haven't gotten one of their big mainline update Battle Pass changes yet, so it's hard to say for sure. I just don't imagine progress going lightning speed for a game right now, especially this game, because it hasn't gone lightning fast yet. But they're making improvements, so maybe another year, maybe another 2, who knows? More, less? Wait and see. So let me know what you think so far about Wayfinder, if you want me to make any random guides or videos talking about anything in it, but I think I'll just casually play it here and there on stream over at twitch.tv/Pupsker and go from there. If you want to support the channel, you can always check out the stream, like, subscribe, check out any of the social medias, use Epic Games creator code Pupsker, and you know, anything like that helps, especially for a small content creator such as myself. So thank you all so much. I appreciate the support, and I will see you next video. Cheers.